Would you like to get married? Have you thought about marriage? Aren't kids amazing? Isn't your husband great? Or maybe it's not for you, and that's okay, because it's not for everybody. But how important is marriage, and sometimes staying married, to the structure of a household, and how important has marriage been to our society? Then, now, ever. Some people might claim that marriage is outdated and no longer has its uses. Well, we'll see about that. Welcome to the Glass Floor. This is a podcast that basically focuses on gender equalism and gender neutralness and basically bringing both sides, the other half and the first half, to the table to try and come to some agreements. I'm your host, Katrina. This is my co-host, Tim. This episode is sponsored by the National Coalition for Men, which was founded in 1977. They're an organization that focuses on fighting discrimination, stereotypes against boys, men, and the families that love them. They're a nonpartisan, diverse, and very inclusive group. And with that, marriage.
We're going to talk about marriage.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wedding bells in
Go
the
into
air.
the chapel and we're gonna get married. Marriage goes way back. It's been with us as long as recorded history. Men and women getting together. Historically, the goal for most humans in the brutal past was just to survive.
Mm-hmm.
And men and women got together to help each other to survive. And they each had a role, and it was efficient. And I suspect that much of the gender polarity of the past is also around clarity. I think back in the brutal past when everything was superstition and everything seemed so chaotic, random, didn't understand why anything happens. I think the idea that men are like this and women are like that gave humans some measure of a feeling of predictability that they liked. It felt good.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we're all happy that it's no longer so rigid, but we now reach a point where we're wondering, it's said that this binary is completely socially constructed, but perhaps the the genderless society is socially constructed. So,
Mm-hmm.
We have to look at both sides on that.
With new freedoms comes new things to anticipate and have to go through.
Yeah. As they
Especially,
say, with every change, something's gained, something's lost. It's the duality of everything. So, if you're going to change things, you have to look at both sides, what's gained and what's lost.
yeah.
So,
Back in the day, it'd be a power play or stability or money or whatever it was. And it was almost impossible sort of to be alone. There were
of course,
spinsters, but it was
and
quite hard,
stags.
and stags, but it was.
But yeah, the expectation was for everyone to get married.
Mm-hmm.
And so this has been a point of contention for feminists from the beginning. It has always been regarded as the bane of women by a certain cabal of feminism.
And to a certain extent, in some MRIs as well, certain groups are very against marriage.
Yes, that's true. But historically, you go back to like Simone de Beauvoir. She wrote the book The Second Sex. And in it, she famously, a quote from her is that women should not be authorized to stay home full time and take care of their children, because if they have that choice, too many women will make that choice. And she just really didn't quite get the irony there, Simone. There's kind of a bit of irony there. All right, so Gloria Steinem famously said that marriage was an arrangement for 1.5 people, where, of course, the husband's the whole person and the wife is just a half a person. So there's always been that attitude, and the feminine mystique, Betty Friedan, she actually wrote, this was back in 1963, that she compared stultified housewives with the Walking Dead in Nazi concentration camps.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, literally.
Mm.
And this was 1963. Those camps had been liberated less than 20 years prior. So there were still, I don't know, hundreds of thousands of people, survivors of those camps. That read some woman pushing a vacuum cleaner in her living room is comparable to what they went through. All right, so that's the attitude. And what we're going to talk about today, though, is a feminist named Shulamith Firestone. And she was born, what, 1907? Is that what it said?
She was born in 1945.
Oh, 1945.
But she wrote her book famously published it famously in 1970.
Ah, okay.
The Dialectic.
That Dialect of Sex?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And in it, she argues, quote, the family structure is the source of psychological, economic, and political oppression. And we'll get to what the irony is there in a moment, but the title for our show today is She Died Alone. And it is said she died alone in her home at 67 of starvation, with her body left undiscovered for days. Apparently, just the stench of her decaying body alerted people that she was dead. So she was extremely isolated. And her starvation, well, I don't know exactly, but I know that she was on welfare for decades.
Mm-hmm.
And I suppose that this Medicare, this whatever it is that she was on, this welfare, was enough to feed her. She wasn't starving, probably because she had absolutely no money. It was a choice. It was suicide, basically. So the great irony, as I see it, is that here's a woman who devoted herself to trying to degrade, shame, diminish, even put an end to the institution of marriage, which, if she had embraced it, would almost certainly have spared her the fate that she ended up in. No guarantees, but for the most part, widows have their husband's life insurance to live off of, and they have children, and somebody's going to notice if she hasn't
answered or picked up.
Yeah. So, tragic story, and I think there's a lesson in it. Not saying that everyone has to get married.
No.
Not
it's
with
completely a choice.
It's completely a choice. And there's something very shadowy in feminism's assumption that matrimony is purely a patriarchal institution and a source of female powerlessness and oppression.
For something that starts with matriarchy practically in the title.
That's right. They call it
matrimony.
It's called matrimony, not patrimony. And they play Here Comes the Bride, now Here Comes the Groom. And only the bride is showered, right, with gifts, bridal shower.
Yeah. I mean, there's the bachelor party, but that's a little less about being showered. That's right.
That's a little less about being married and more about your last few days before you get married.
I mean, if you ever seen the designs of the cakes that sometimes people make where the groom's in like handcuffs being dragged away by the bride.
Right. So
honestly, that makes it seem like it's more the man that's getting
kind of pulled into it.
Yeah.
Right. And And also, I would just point out that mothers have a certain parental primacy. They have a large measure of social, emotional, and legal ownership of her children.
Mhm.
So, how is this realm of marriage purely a place of powerless victimization and only for women?
Yeah. And to that point, we actually put this out ahead of time just to see how people would respond. So, to our first comment from Sarah Dowdy, what a legend. I guess some of the men in this post didn't read the studies that show women live longer if they are single. They are also paid more and more educated and are more happy, whereas men live longer, get paid more, and are happier married. So good for her. To all the men's comments, you're on the internet. All the answers to your questions are on here. I do not have to be your teacher and engage in your stupidity. Please do better as a gender because women are.
Yeah. Well, it's a shame, isn't it, how thousands of years of women's oppression has left them with so low self-esteem, as you can see here.
Did
Uh,
you have to write the second part? That's my question. You could have left it the first part. Your point was very educationally made.
yeah, and very one-sided.
Yeah,
So
it
entitled to your
is, but
opinion, but there are other studies that show that both men and women benefit greatly from marriage,
yeah.
both economically and in terms of health, well-being, and longevity.
Mm,
So yeah, this is at least she's not making the point that so many feminist commenters were on about that she wouldn't have made it to 67 if she'd been married because her husband would have doubtless have killed
killed
her
her,
by then.
yeah.
Oh my God.
Which I don't think they understand that um women getting killed by their husbands is not the main part of them dying when married, but
No,
I will digress.
the contrary opinion, I mean, if she had a husband,
Husband,
he
he
would have
wouldn't
made sure she wasn't
pass.
incapacitated, starving. Hypocrisy kills. Yeah, I mean, it's all bell curves, but clearly the large, far majority of widows, they have their husband's life insurance
Mhm.
and they have children.
If they have children.
If they have children, they probably do. Again, it's a matter of,
And even if they don't, they have the husband's family members usually.
yeah,
And this
yeah,
is not a push to get married. Again, that is completely your choice.
right. That's not the point at all. The point is that, well, I will take a stand for marriage in terms of as a sociological thing.
Mhm.
That I will say that uh, one thing that marriage provides is fathers, and without marriage, there's a lack of fathers, and lack of fathers and father energy has been closely associated with most every social pathology that concerns us most in the world today. Correlates more than poverty, more than race, more than any other factor.
Yeah.
So, take it under consideration. And all over the world, uh, populations are declining. And while that might be considered a good thing, consider the gender, the wedge between the genders that it implies, and also consider that projections show that this decline in population is not going to be some gentle tapering off, that it's going to be exponential, that you got places like Korea where you've got something like zero point 0.8 is your rate of reproduction. You need
Mm.
a rate of 2.1. That is an average of every woman having, 2.1 children in order to maintain your population. When you've got a reproductive rate of zero point 0.8, your population is plummeting. It's
Mhm.
halving and it's cut in half again and again. So in Japan, they've like given up. They just like say, well, the sexes aren't going to be having children anymore, so they're literally building robots
To do
to
things.
do things for a plummeting population, including taking care of the old because there's not enough young to do it.
Yeah. I
So
mean, even the royal family is having their struggles with their only male heir because if he doesn't make his own heir, that'll be the end of the emperor's line.
wow. So there you go.
And honestly, it just seems a little harsh to go on being like, she would have died anyways. Women live longer. There's a lot of support that comes from having a partnership.
Yeah.
And it's not all about the kids and the raising. It is having someone to speak and have conversations with, somebody support you during hard times.
Yeah.
It is somebody that you guys spend your life with. You want to know why women die sooner in marriages? Because they lose their person. And it's
It
hard
is.
to be without your person
Without
once
your
you
man.
found them.
Yeah. Assuming it's a heterosexual marriage.
hmm Even when it isn't, I mean, it's still your person
That's right.
in a lot of ways. So there are a lot of parts to it.
Mm-hmm.
An insult in the other gender is not going to get you anywhere.
No. No.
Just accept you have your way, they have their way, you have your opinions, and leave it at
Yes.
that.
So as gender equalists,
And to the point,
we're struggling to heal the divide between men and women.
yeah, and I would like to make one last point before we leave. And this is slightly a racial point. But one of the things people point out a lot is with Martin Luther King and his movement was highly based on fathers. It was
Mm-hmm.
based on the family aspect.
Yeah.
Family aspects are how we grew things, how we moved things.
That's right. And owing to welfare policies, many men were driven out of the home. They couldn't compete with the government if the woman had 5 or 6 children. There was no way that the man could compete with that and the money that was drawn. And the woman risked her welfare if some social worker should find even a pair of man's pants in her
No.
closet. So he had to disappear
Mm-hmm.
completely in order to
Get the
safeguard
money, yeah.
his family.
In the world wars, we had such a high level of patriotism, which we don't have now. Now, there are also other reasons for that. We ain't going into that in this episode.
No,
But a lot of that was family. It was the idea of protecting what was back home,
that's right.
going out and taking away the threat before it came to your front door.
Yes, protecting your woman, basically, and your family.
I mean, I don't know if we've discussed an episode about this, the white feather ladies.
World War I, England.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Shaming men into going there with this white feather saying they were a chicken, saying you should be out there protecting everybody.
Right. Yeah. You're of age. Why aren't you in a uniform? They get a white feather, symbol of cowardice, which had a staggering impact on men. Women's power to shame is enormous. And so, in a sense, he even had the power to shame a man into going off and never coming back, most likely.
And that is the strength that is put in by the idea that you're protecting something, some family, some kid, some wife.
Reason to live.
Mm-hmm. Again, it is up to everyone's choices, but marriage is not oppressive. It's not killing you.
Yeah.
There are some
Right.
people that have unfortunate marriages, and those are unfortunate cases.
Right.
And everyone's entitled to their opinion.
But contrary to what Shulamith says, the family structure is not the source of psychological, economic, and political oppression, please.
It is unfortunate what happened to her. I'm not going to say an opinion on whether she should or shouldn't have because she made her choices. But maybe rethink before saying those words. And with that, this has been another episode of the Glass Floor Podcast. We can't wait to see you next time. Like down below, make sure to subscribe, and come keep watching us. See ya.
Bye.